We,
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't mean to say good morning. Hello. Well, I didn't mean to say hello either. Greetings, everyone. It's Sunday morning. Wayne Steiger's in Denver. I'm in Denver, but we're not in Denver together. Couldn't make that happen. Heck, I just woke up 5 minutes ago. But
it's
it's
like,
not your normal Sunday show. Wayne, we did it. We're here.
hey, good to see you. I know we're going to meet up later on, and welcome to Denver, buddy.
It's Denver is such a weird place, Wayne. Such a weird place. Oh my goodness.
A lot of interesting energies here.
The energy here is unlike anything I've felt in a long, long time.
Yeah, the ley lines that we lie on. Yeah, it's and it's evident by what you see in this city.
I thought when you were talking about this stuff, Wayne, he's a little crazy, but dude, you're exactly right. It's a strange, weird place.
It is. It's tangible. It really is tangible. And as I'm finding out, it also brings in some of very powerful magicians live here.
No kidding. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So are all of I know it seems to me, and we've been talking about this here at the conference. It seems to me that Denver is there's a lot of dark forces here. Does it also bring in good forces?
Yeah, yeah. It's again, as you look at the principles of hermetics, you can't have one extreme without the other. If you have one extreme, then there's going to be an extreme on the other side.
Well, where's the good energy here?
Well, I think you go up to places, up in the foothills, hiking into the mountains here.
Oh, there you go.
There is places. I like going just south of here, and you can go into places where there's nothing but pine trees.
Oh, beautiful.
And the spirits talk to you. They do.
Beautiful.
So,
Wayne, is there anything in Colorado Springs left of the Tesla stuff to go see, or is it pretty much just all gone?
it's pretty much all gone. Lynn and I were looking at a house that he actually lived in.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was when we were talking with the real estate agent, he kept saying, well, this house has a little bit of history. Well, what kind of history? Well, its foundation is a little different. And it was very different. So, but it's worth going down there. Colorado Springs is another place. Go to the Garden of the Gods that you can actually go up there, and it's an interesting drive.
I'll bet. Now, one thing that I'm not going to be able to do this time is go to Doc Holliday's grave. It's 3 hours away.
No, actually, from where we are, you can be up there in 40 minutes.
Are you really? Then am I looking at the wrong place?
Yeah, you just go right up, and Lynn can tell you when we meet for lunch. You could literally just go up C470, and it's like the first or second exit. And once you're on Interstate 70 heading into the mountains.
Really?
Hmm.
Huh, I wonder why. I must have done something wrong because it showed me like 3 hours each direction when I Googled it.
No, no, no. We'll help you out.
Excellent. Because now, for what I understand, the cemetery is there, but they don't know exactly which one of the graves is Doc's.
What a surprise. I mean, back then, there were a lot of, he was basically in a tuberculosis place to die.
He was.
Yeah.
But Wayne, I do have the rods here.
Oh,
So
do
I think
you?
we could go up there and find Doc Holliday's actual grave.
Listen, I don't doubt that. I really don't. I think Doc Holliday lives on. I think that energy is transferred over to the other side, and it's just an opinion. But I think spirits feel that. So yes, I think you.
Interesting.
I think you listen. If consciousness is transferred or transmuted at the point of these bodies dying, then it tells me, it's that old adage, what's the difference between a spirit and a ghost?
What is the difference?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they get a different classification on the side. It says, oh, yes, let's look at your record.
I look kind of like a ghost today, and the color here is really bad.
Well, you're in a hotel room.
Yeah, I can't find any. There's a perfect lamp here, but for the life of me, I can't figure out how to turn the damn thing on. So here we are.
So tell us, how is LeakCon going?
LeakCon is going really well. There's a big crowd. I listened. I have a table here with the Mistec bracelets and Jay Campbell and the rods, and just talking to lots and lots of people. So I haven't been able to hear many of the speakers, but we saw and listened to John D'Souza
Mm,
former FBI agent. He was the template for Fox Mulder. And in fact, today, Jay and I are going to have him on a special edition of The Last Stand, live from LeakCon. Just a fascinating guy, Wayne. Fascinating guy.
what was your takeaway?
I expected him to be stuffy and, like an FBI agent, just a very personable, down to earth guy, very approachable guy, very nice guy, super credible guy. And I mean, we had talks about everything from the Challenger astronauts to UFOs. So it was a very interesting conversation because his table's right next to ours. So great guy. His wife Bella, lovely lady. It's been a really good time. Everything's been amazing.
So tell us any of the stories. Did he get? I mean, Fox.
I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn or not, but he says that he is thoroughly convinced, and I thought this was just the craziest of conspiracy theories, but he believes, I think he said he believes, so don't quote me if I'm wrong, that the Challenger astronauts are all alive and well and teaching in universities around the country.
I have heard that.
I've heard it too and dismissed it. But if a guy, with that much of an investigatory, impartial mind says, "Oh yeah, no doubt about it, it's true," I'm like, "Whoa, that threw me for a loop." I'm gonna have to get into that myself and look at it. Tracy Dyer says she believes it. So if John D'Souza and Tracy Dyer believes it, it's got to be true.
It's got to be true. I can't see why it wouldn't. And it's interesting because they had to fashion Mulder off of someone, and it's interesting that you found him to seem to be kind of have that same type of demeanor.
Well, a little bit. He's not as stuffy as the Fox Mulder character. He's more personable, more open. But he's some of the differences were interesting. Is that his partner wasn't a girl; it was a dude, and the way he described the partner was much more like the second guy that came in when Duchovny left the series for a while. That guy that was in Terminator. Yeah. That's what his partner was like in real life, not like Dana Scully.
Dana was hot back in her day.
Have you seen her lately?
Mm-mm.
Brother, she's still hot.
Okay.
Gillian Anderson is looking good. If you're listening to this, Ms. Anderson, you are looking good.
I love it.
She played, of all roles, she played Hannibal Lecter's psychiatrist on the new Hannibal series. And she looked stunning.
Yeah, I always found it interesting that when they would do the side-by-sides with her and David Duchovny, that she always had the box. She had to have the little platform.
In fact, Wayne, she's one of those women that get better looking the older they get, I think. I think she's more beautiful now than she was in the early days of X-Files.
We're all getting old.
We are getting old, but you know what? The old adage, you're not getting older, you're getting better. In my life, that's true. Of course, I was a piece of shit when I was young, so it's not a lot of work.
Some would
say I still am, but
Well, I've never hear parts from my lips. Lynn and I were talking, and she worked trauma and ER for many years, and we were making the comment. I said, learning to live in this temporal reality is quite the challenge. These bodies, the energies. And my lovely wife said, she says, besides the children, which were victims, she said most of the accidents were self-inflicted. We are by nature clumsy. We hurt ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We do it. It's the craziest thing.
So, you're muted.
Yeah, I had to deliver a message, so I was intentionally muted there.
Send a letter, Maria.
Oh, that's a great song. Address it to my wife.
Yes.
Who sang that song?
Well, B.W. Stevenson.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Marty Robbins, but that's not. He was
B.W. Stevens, and then Brooks and Dunn made a hit of it.
Oh, they did. Brooks and Dunn did remake it.
Take a letter, Maria.
That was awesome. What a good song.
Yeah, it's in my head, man.
Back in the old days, man. D'Souza was very. What else? He's got a book that I bought, and I'm actually going to do a series on it. He's got 52 supernatural paranormal investigations in this book, and he's going to talk a little bit about that in his presentation today. And he makes a good point. He says, and this carries over to our realm for sure. He says that most people are not true investigators. Jose Feliciano did do it. You're right. He did a cover of it as well.
Yeah.
He says that most people are just fact gatherers. They're not actually investigators. They don't have that intuitive leap to be able to go to the next level. And so that's the real downfall of law enforcement. And I would submit it's a real downfall of people in the paranormal alternative energy realms as well, or alternative information realms, because they become just fact gatherers and they can't make that next step to become a true investigator either.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting point. I think so many of the paranormal investigators that I have seen, they go in with an already preconceived conclusion.
Absolutely. It's like
And it's like,
our
well,
good friends, the Christians.
yeah,
They already know. It's not studying when you have an answer and you're looking for facts, quote unquote, to line up with your answer. That's not study.
no, that's actually indoctrination.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what it is. So it's interesting that you're talking about this. I'm on this quest. So I've been reading a number of books. Got this one called Real Magic.
I have that book.
So have you read it?
I have.
And what was your determination as to the foundation of the book that there is a actual real magic, call it psi, if you want to use another word for it? I am finding that his thesis of the book is very found. I think that there is this thing we have lost, and it's been corrupted by religion purposely. And I think a lot of fraudsters are into it, but I think there is a real magic, Jeff.
And Sterling will be glad to know that there's a NASA scientist that's speaking here this weekend as well.
Wow. On what topic?
I'm not sure what he's talking about. He's talking about, it didn't catch my interest, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's all right. It's cool. But this whole thing of exploration of magic, it's quite fascinating.
Is that the book with the forward by Lon Milo Duquette? Am I thinking, is it the same book?
Let's see.
I think it would have to be because they're both called Real Magic.
That may be. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good book if it's the one I'm thinking of. They changed the cover.
Yeah, it's it's comparing the ancient wisdom to modern science.
Greg Allison is talking about the grid.
The grid. Ah.
And he's the former NASA scientist. I think he was actually a NASA contractor. So I don't know if he was actually, quote unquote, working for NASA, but he was at least a contractor with NASA.
So I just got this one yesterday, Jeff. Just came in and it was recommended to me by, quote unquote, a master. It's very interesting. It's called The Discovery of Witchcraft.
Oh, nice.
And this is the 1584 edition. We've lost.
Let me just say, Wayne, not finding Greg interesting is all on me, not on him. So I didn't mean to infer that.
It's like, some like chocolate, some like vanilla.
Exactly. And it just wasn't my flavor, but I'm sure he's a brilliant guy, and his seminar was packed. So
yeah. Well, if Rex got him in there, he's good. So I have a question. It was brought up to me on Friday on my show, and I thought you and I you would be very the right person to actually ask this. So I was a tither all my Christian life, when, came to it there in the late 70s, and, it was well inbred that you tithe. Malachi 3:10 and 11, bring the full tithe into the storehouse so that there may be meat in my house.
And he'll return it to you in due season. And then there's the one in Matthew, God shall return unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over.
Mm-hmm. So the question that was brought up to myself, I said, okay, can we get our money back?
Oh, Greg is a worm farm guy too. You know who he is.
Yeah.
Can we get our money back? That's interesting, Wayne, because when I was a pastor, I was trying to get people to tithe because I went to this one church. There was like 3 people in it. We turned it into 150 people. So I got to be the guy to go to churches and try to fix them for a while. And I did something which was amazing now that I think about it. People were people were afraid to tithe. So I told them, tithe, and I'll keep your tithe aside. And if you don't have enough money at the end of the month, I'll give you your tithe back. But no one ever asked for it back, Wayne, in all those years.
Well, now that we understand where that money goes, I always knew it.
Could you sue for your money back?
That's the question I have. I mean, listen, I can go back my past tax returns, and we have given sizable. So that's the question I ask.
Wayne, I want you to know I put it to good use.
I knew it. You're the one flying that citation 10.
I didn't ever put it to that good a use.
I tell people the money I gave Kenneth Copeland for that citation 10. What was I thinking?
I was just thinking, what would ever possess you, and that's a perfect term, to give money to a preacher to be able to buy a private jet? And somebody said, could you sue for breach of contract?
Well, I think it is a breach of contract.
But is it an implied is it an actual contract, or was it an implied? I don't know.
Well, let me see.
Very interesting medically, or not medically, very interesting legally.
I have.
Robert asks, are we talking about paying taxes? There's a great analogy.
Well,
would it be that taxes were only 10%, huh?
I contend that if salvation is a contract, then the tithing, it was an implied promise that if you give, there will be a reciprocated in-kind return.
Absolutely, at least 100%.
Well,
oh no, I guess 30. Some 30.
I think if you go Mark 4, 30, 60, 100. But I go to Malachi 3, 10, and 11. And if people will read all that, I mean, I know it by heart.
Yeah, me too.
And it says, bring your full tithe into there may be meat in my house, and prove me now and see if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you will not be able to contain.
You have no room to receive.
And your field shall not drop its crop till its time. And it goes on and it says, again, prove me by these words, and your name shall be in the book of the living.
Also, you can buy your way.
Well, that's what it says right there.
Yahweh's kingdom.
Most people never read that full thing. And of course, the foundation of Malachi was that the Jews were bringing the diseased animals, the crops that were secondary. So can we sue? Is there a universal court where we can go to and say, this God lied?
Yeah, but the universal court probably wouldn't care much about money, Wayne.
Well, let me just challenge that. That money was the sweat of my brow. It was only money because that was the only way that I could do it. But I sweated for that.
You know what they might say? The verdict might come back. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Well, but
we were ignorant. And what was the other one? Let the ignorant be ignorant still.
Yeah. But it is
we wasted a lot of money, bro. We wasted a lot of money.
Yeah. I think that this is a debate that needs to be brought up.
Absolutely.
I look at it as potentially a legal issue here.
Interesting. It is. It's a very interesting debate. And I mean, if
there's any agnostic attorneys out there that actually are awake, write me, please. And I'd like to explore this on a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, you'd have to have receipts, and you'd have to be going probably to one place, huh?
Well,
on a continual basis.
The only way that you could be part of the class action suit is that you would have to have your tax receipts.
Right.
And the IRS has them as well.
Oh, yeah, they have them. Whether they're willing to provide them for you to help you out is another question.
Oh, I think that this may open the proverbial can of worms. It was really interesting when the Wall Street Reform Act was passed in 2010. I was part of this debate. It was heavily debated in the Senate. Why are we financing or subsidizing religion? when it expresses in the Constitution, the United States shall not be a part of or promote a religion, by allowing churches, and how they got around it is that it's nonprofits, the 10%, the total deduction.
And I think Mormons have a double tithe. So, because 10% goes to God and then 10% goes to the widows and orphans, quote unquote.
And in many places in Utah, they take it out of your check. The employer does.
Which brings it all back again to the Establishment Clause. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, Jeff. When you think about it, there's a lot of money involved.
Literally billions and billions.
Yeah. Dare I say that it could be, well, what's the Vatican worth?
Oh, man.
Trillions?
Probably.
Now, I know because, I had a company, we dealt with the mobile app. And in our research, in America, the United States alone, the Christian churches bring in over $100 billion a year.
Amazing.
And now those statistics were from 2010. And at the peak of when I last looked at it, we were approaching $141 billion. Now, how we got better at it is that because the mobile apps, like I developed, it automatically, our app sent the reports to the IRS. So now the IRS has a better gathering of exactly what dollar. Do you know what, Jeff, when we're speaking of this, when I was bringing this mobile app out to the churches in 2010, do you know why most churches resisted it?
Because they had two sets of books, right?
That's exactly right. I actually had more than one church council and preacher tell me this. Well, he said, they'd know exactly what we're doing. Yeah. And I said, the problem is why? What?
Yeah, they don't want transparency at any level of religion, really.
Yeah. So when you look at the type of money that Americans give to Christianity, and people say, well, it's nonprofits. Exactly. Nonprofits is nearly a $500 billion industry. But if you look at the religion giving alone with the American churches, it's a very robust industry.
And Wayne, can we say it's not only is it non-profit, it's also non-profit as well.
It's all about profit. The prophet said.
Yeah, the prophet said. And I had a heated discussion very early this morning. Was it? It was may qualify. Even in the woke community, there's still a perception, and I concur. It comes from still being infected with the God spell, still being infected with the Christ virus, still being infected with 7-layer blood poisoning from the crucifixion implants. That we still have this perception that even though we're aware, even though we're woke, even though we're high consciousness, whatever you want to call it, many people still have this perception of, I still need a God. There's still got to be something outside of me that I can go to, look to, that can teach me, show me, help me. And I call BS on that, Wayne. I think that is the core of the God spell. You are divine, you are sovereign, you are free, or you're not.
Exactly.
Which is it?
Well, it's so interesting you say that, because is it not written in Deuteronomy, choose you this day whom you shall serve?
Oh, that's a good one.
And that word serve, I know when you get back, look it up. I mean, that's servitude.
I'm going to send myself a text. That's a show this week.
And I'm like you. I question now, where is it written that I have to choose a God? Why do I need to choose a God?
Yeah.
Now,
and then they go to, as for me and my house, we'll serve this being called the Lord. But
yeah, Jeremiah.
No, I'm divine, I'm sovereign, I'm free. When I took my first breath in this realm, if John was right, I received the spark of enlightenment, the kingdom of God that the central figure in the Christian mythos says is in me. So I do not need an outside God. And this belief, this perception, this conviction that you need an outside God is the very core of what keeps you captive, even though you may think you're free.
the liber Lilith said exactly the same thing, that
I've always liked Lilith.
she explicitly said the divine gave us the divine spark, not this God, not this God of this world, Samuel, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it. And that's why this God murders us. That's why this God has been envious of us. That's why this God is jealous of us. He says that he is a jealous God. Well, a question is, why? What do you have to be jealous of?
Exactly. And Wayne, it's just amazing. Even people that are woke AF are still infected by the God spell, the Christ virus, and they just cannot see it. And I have to learn to just let them go, because a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still.
Yeah.
And when they go ad hominem, and it's just like, as soon as someone goes ad hominem on you, it's over. There's no more discussion.
No. So that they say, in fact, this was, I think, in the Times, don't quote me on that, but about 1 million people a month are leaving organized religion.
Absolutely. I don't like organized religion, and disorganized religion wasn't that great either.
It wasn't much fun either. But the problem that you and I have talked about is that there's this void now. Where do they go? What do they do? You say, I like how you're teaching that don't let someone else be your guru.
Yeah, and that's the perception that, oh no, if I don't go to church, there's this God-shaped hole inside of every. No, bullshit. There is no God-shaped hole inside of man. If we would realize that we are full from our first breath of divinity, but somehow we just can't get that connected through our brains. We think that we're lacking. We think that there's something that's got to be filled. Some people will go so far as to say, if you don't get possessed by Jesus, then you will get possessed by demons. That is absolute ludicrosity, stupidity. The dumbest thing I've ever heard come out of a grown person's mouth.
So I'm going to do my Lieutenant Dan. Forrest, you found Jesus? Well, I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for him, Lieutenant Dan.
That's great. I don't know. And we're not supposed to be looking for him, but why are we all looking for him? That just shows you the dummy stupid is as stupid does.
I mean, come on, folks. At what point do you wake up? And I mean, this whole thing about demons and, you know, that anything to do with magic is, you know, witchcraft. Anything that does with telepathy, witchcraft, evil. And behind all that, I read recently that the Vatican now sees exorcism as a billion-dollar industry.
Oh, absolutely. It's big money.
Big money.
But stupid is as stupid does, and stupid looks outside itself for divinity.
Yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, that's the problem I have,
Jeff. Lost, Lieutenant Dan. That's so good.
You know, as I'm studying this, I know you can cast spells. I know you can.
Absolutely. And we do it all the time, unwittingly.
Unknowingly and unwittingly. But I can't bring myself to invoke a spirit, excuse me, for it to do something for me.
Me either, because it's going to want something in return. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah. Is that the test, Jeff, that as you become more knowledgeable, you understand that there's this power, there's this meaning.
Desmond he makes it simpler, Wayne. He says, stupid is.
Exactly.
And as Ron White says, you can't fix stupid.
So is the test to know that you have the ability to access the power, but you don't yield to it?
And then can I take that one step further?
Sure.
You have the access, you have the reality to know that you could call on demons to do your bidding, but then you realize, oh, I don't need them. I'll just do it myself, and then I'm not beholden to anyone but me.
Yeah. Yeah. If the subconscious has any validity of existence, then all I can say is that I need to start doing the inside job.
Absolutely.
If you can think by a negative personality, and we've all known him. I had one boss, never forget the guy, and he was the type of guy, literally, when you would say good morning to him, he would literally say, F you, what do you think is so good about it? I mean, this is the guy running the plant. But there are those personalities that are just very, I don't know, negative. Say
The
what it is.
transmutationist has a good quote. They say, it looks like it's a girl. I can't really tell. Says, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great line for magic and
So if
manifestation.
we are divine, then what faith is, calling those things that be not as though they are, why couldn't we do that?
We can.
I got a haircut yesterday, and I was talking to the woman that cuts my hair. She's been doing it for a long time, and we were talking about perception of death on the other side.
The transmutationist is a guy with long hair. My mistake.
Oh, okay. It happens.
Yeah.
And so I asked her, I said, so let me ask you, I said, do you think when you step through to the other side, that all knowledge is going to be given to you, that you're going to figure it all out, and you've got people there waiting for you that are going to take care of you? Or is it that you're going to be much like how you were born in this death realm? You hope that there's someone there going to be with you. Obviously, I think it's going to be a shock to any person, Jeff, that the experience without these bodies.
Yep.
Do you
That's why
think
you've got to
then?
prepare yourself in this life.
Thank you, sir. And that's my question, is that I think people are so deluded by the thought that this is why they go to religion, is that because there will be someone there that'll explain it all to me.
There won't be. That's why I prepare, and that's one of the reasons why I still, even I had to buy. I'm gonna have to buy a freezer to make it happen now, but I still want to go into 38-degree water.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Because when you go, the first time I went under, when I came out, Wayne, it was, the F word was said in as many different varieties and frequencies as you could
You were
possibly.
speaking in tongues, brother.
And I'm dancing around. Blah, 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 blah. Now I can go under 38-degree water and come out as calm as a cucumber. And that's preparing me for when I leave this body, that shock of being out of this body. I'll at least have something to maintain and to learn how to keep my wits about me, because I'm convinced that the people that go where they want to go instead of where something else wants them to go when they die are the people that can maintain their divinity, their sovereignty, their freedom, and their sense of sovereignty when they do get separated from this body.
And I don't think there's enough teaching on that. I think that it's one of the huge gaps
It
in
is.
our consciousness, whether it be universal or collective.
Yep. And there's other ways that you can do the same thing. You can put yourself under mental, physical, spiritual stress, so you'll know how to handle mental, physical, and spiritual stress. I mean, I went to boot camp for 6 weeks. Yeah, it was the Air Force boot camp. It wasn't that bad, but that's why they put you in those. That's why they wake you up in the middle of the night and get up, get up, get up, and then they march you. It's so that you are adaptable to extremely stressful situations and will be trained to react in predictable fashion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to be a stressful situation when you leave this body. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I just don't buy this smooth transition. It doesn't make any logical sense on any plane.
Well, it's a smooth transition, Wayne, if you go right from here into the soul farm that somebody has already got prepared for you. It can be real easy if you don't want to be divine. It can be real easy if you don't want to be sovereign. It can be real easy if you don't want to be free.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about, the whole reincarnation thing. So there was I don't know if the guy was at Caltech anyway, PhD guy that began to do the numbers, and the numbers don't add up.
Yeah.
So there's no way that if the thought of reincarnation is what it says, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
Either there's another back door opening or something. So question, this transition, which we call death, is it as simple? They say that there's a light. I don't know. I was in a coma for nearly 9 days. I don't remember any light. I don't remember anything. But I often wonder if it's just as simple as saying no.
I bet it is. It's just as simple as you making the decision, not letting someone or something make it for you. I mean, not if it looks like your grandma, your dead wife that went before you, your kids. You've got to retain enough sovereignty to make your own decision at that point of death. No, I'm going to go here. No, I'm going to go there. Yes, you said no.
So here's something that's been hitting me mentally. So you see this light, you see souls, spirits going towards it. I mean, it's this constant. And yet I see smatterings on the outside peripheral of this, and they're not going. I'm wondering, Jeff, if it's when you say no, and the real challenge comes when the light goes out. What do you do then? Because I think about
if you know, you'll either know or you won't know.
Yeah, I think about Thoth all the time. You know, as he was going out, is it that the spirits are they so attached to the earth's energy, that the fear of going out into the cosmos is beyond comprehension?
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah, I think it is too, buddy.
I'll bet it is.
I really do. I was thinking about this only because I heard this fact about the Vatican. It is said and been verified that the Vatican has 33 miles of ancient documents.
Wow, I'll bet they do.
33 miles, Jeff.
Interesting number too, by the way.
Isn't it though? You can check this out, folks. I often wonder what it is they truly have down there.
You know, Wayne, we have a dissenter in the chat room I'd like to address. It's kind of interesting. I remember when I was a preacher and I was, I was preaching. I remember I went to this TBN place and they were going to have me on, and then they decided, we're not going to have you on because you just preach health and wealth. And I said, would you prefer that I preach sickness and poverty? And here's this person in the chat room says, how do you two know what's right? Nobody knows until they're dead, or something like that. Well, you can either curse the darkness or you can light a candle, right? And you study for a while and you learn some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's whoever the person is asking the question, you've answered your question before you asked it. How do we know?
That you two act like you know what you're saying is true. No one knows until you leave this life. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll work and study and prepare, and you don't work and study and prepare. And let's get together and see how it worked for you and how it worked for us after the transition, Nancy.
Listen, that the questions are not even properly framed right. I mean, sir, madam, whoever it may be, truth. Define truth.
Exactly. What is truth?
Are you going by the Bible? Do you consider the Bible as truth? If that's where your doctrination is, then Jeff and I have a very different opinion. And, we could sit here and discuss it, but eventually you have to find your own truth.
You do.
When you die,
have your own truth. Don makes a good point here, and this is interesting. We talk about shadow work. We talk about the dark night of the soul, and she says, learn to work with your shadows without fear. What do you say to that, Wayne?
I think it's true.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
You have to face that dark part of you and learn how to let it be controlled by the non-dark part of you, the balanced part of you.
I used to fear death. To me, I couldn't handle the thought of non-existence, that my consciousness would not carry forward. But I can tell you,
says she likes her dark side. I like that.
Well, we all have a dark side.
We do.
We all have a bright side. That's what makes us, that you have to have it in this duality. But here's my point. I don't fear death. That's the thing. So did I find truth? Well, maybe I found peace.
Yeah.
But, to criticize Jeff and I and say that you don't know truth. Well, again, I'm going to tell you that you're intellectually dishonest. You write to me and Jeff and define what truth is, and then we can have an intellectually honest discussion.
And I'll tell you this, Wayne, and I think this is true. Peace will take you a lot farther than quote unquote truth.
Oh, isn't that the? I'm sorry. I'm seeing a Joel Osteen preacher going on here. I mean, you know,
Joel, that does sound like something Joel would
it
preach.
does. It does. You know, Proverbs says
Peace would take you a lot farther than truth.
And Proverbs says,
Can I get an amen?
yeah, I'm not going to
Can I
shout you
get-
down because you're
Can I
preaching
get
good.
a check? Big check.
Let's take an offering. Pass
Praise
that
the
plate.
Lord and take an offering. Boom.
I had a
Wayne, how many? What was the max number of offerings you ever saw in a single church service?
Kenneth Copeland. We were in Branson, and I guess there had to have been 6 or 7.
Wow, I've never seen any more than that. I've been in Family Worship Center during camp meeting, and they had a few.
I bet they did. I mean, now, you know, I go back to Kenneth Hagin, you know, and some of his old camp meetings, exactly that, and there in Tulsa. I'll tell you what, them ushers, they had to be strong arms.
I'll bet you RW took him a few
Oh, yeah, he did.
multiple offering services too.
And, you know, when we had him up at Life Christian Center up there at Rick Shelton's church, he had a pretty good offering. I mean, we took it home. We watched his money, but I remember back then it was well into $3,000 or $4,000.
That's a pretty good offering.
That's a pretty good take for a night, isn't it?
That'll get you to Shoney's a few times.
Just more than. But it's true. I mean, the first time I took Lynn to a Kenneth Copeland crusade, he went 45 minutes on telling you why tithing and giving is the only way to get favor of God. And
wow.
When he finished, she was getting her stuff to get up. And I said, oh, no, honey, he hasn't even, this is going to be the message. And she looked at me and said, what?
What kind of a God do you have to buy the favor of?
Well, I mean, isn't that what Malachi 3:10 is?
It is.
I mean, listen, I began to look when I left the church. I'll tell you.
Thank you, Three Trees.
That's beautiful.
And thank you, Warrior Princess, Warrior
She's
Queen.
beautiful.
I keep forgetting she promoted herself.
Yes, well, it's
forgot a promotion.
And but I'll never forget Miss White when we were sitting in her mansion, and I'll never forget what she said. You know,
Is
she
that
said,
Paula?
Yeah. She said, literally, she said, well, you know, I think it's great that you have this mobile app and that it'll help, what have you. But she says, you know, at the end of the day, it's how much did we bring in? Will this help bring more money in? And that's all it is.
Wow.
Your salvation is got a dollar sign to it. You can't be saved and not pay your tax to God.
Wow.
Well, look at 2 Corinthians 9. Am I wrong? Look what links Paul went to shame you into the fact that if you're not a giver, then, hey, you give by a teaspoon, you're going to get back by the teaspoon. That's what this God is.
He is. He is. So Wayne, let's go down this path. So both your channel and my channel are monetized.
Yeah.
Why are we bad guys? Because we take money for what we do?
You know, listen, if people are that small-minded, if you knew how little, what people get this false perception that, you know, well, you may have 10 million subscribers, you may be able to make a living. What you and I do is truly from the heart.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you want to take it out on what it would be on a per hourly basis, we're making probably 12 cents an hour.
Way less than minimum wage.
Way less.
Way less than minimum wage.
Yeah. So I don't buy that. And again, that's a very small-minded individual. You know what that is? That's a person who is greedy and selfish.
Yeah.
They're selfish-minded because what they're doing, they're comparing everything. It's like, you're taking that? You know, I know people that are like, I know business guys that are like that.
I've had other channels criticize me because they're not monetized and I am.
So what, you know, is that I'll use the expression that which you have brought out into public, you've got your reward.
Yep.
So if you're wanting to say that is such a fine thing for my character, I can do this without monetizing. so what? It's all pride.
They're just like, it reminds me of the guy that's saying his prayers on the corner, and the central figure of the Christian mythos says, "You have your reward," just like you said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max Vision.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things that you and I don't talk about. And, I see on these other Christian YouTube channels, it's all about giving. Man, you've got to send me something, or, and I'm just going.
Wayne, here's a perfect question for you. My silly mummy says, what's your opinion on spiritual people promoting courses on things like ClickFunnels?
I'm only going to speak for our Wayne Steiger.
Mm-hmm.
I give the knowledge at no cost. Listen, if you watch the commercial, fine, you can skip it, but I don't consider that a cost. And that's just me.
Yep.
I have a sense that I'm going to be held accountable for what I have done with the knowledge that I've been given.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I do my best to put it out there. And, as you and I both know, we take it in the butts all the time. The critics are all out there. I mean, I always find it odd how before I even go live, I can get 1 or 2 thumbs down. I haven't said a word.
I usually get 4 or 5 before I go live.
I'm going, okay, but I know I know who 3 of them are. And
yeah, absolutely.
They're Christians.
But specifically to the ClickFunnel thing, I don't think there's anything sinful or anything lacking in integrity. Thank you, Bearded One, so much. I don't think it's.
Sorry, did you see what he wrote?
Yeah, my jet fuel. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Bada bing. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with learning how to market efficiently. And that's basically what a ClickFunnel is. It teaches you how to market any product in an efficient manner. So, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's bad or not. I don't do it, but I don't know if it's bad or not. I have thought about, until I met somebody like Rex, that you could do a class on how to build a YouTube channel, but you start thinking, you look at Rex, and like you and I don't know how to build a YouTube channel, but that would be, I think that might be interesting to help people, because there's a lot of folks that do want to start a channel but don't really know what to do.
Yeah, and YouTube is changing. We're in a very fluid situation. Censorship is here, and I think what YouTube was able to do, a creator 3 years ago, is not going to be the same rules that apply today.
Right.
They've changed the rules. We're in a different time. But yeah, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I've made millions and I've lost them. And I think that that's the best way for any person to go.
Absolutely.
And if you have something that people want to buy, what's wrong with that? I don't see a problem with that.
I don't either. It all goes down to intention and motive.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't want to turn into P.T. Barnum. And the Barnum and Bailey Circus went out of business. I never thought I'd see that day, Wayne.
Yeah, they did. They did. I just remember of a radio preacher back in the day when I lived in St. Louis. And the guy would come on the Christian radio station, and for 15 minutes, all he did was cry and just, it was a con game for him. And so is because you have those in religion, or is all religion bad now? Is all the good that religion does? I mean, orphans, food banks, etc. I don't know.
Yeah. What was that guy's name in California that smoked the cigars?
Oh,
the preacher Gene.
What was his name?
Was it Gene Scott?
It may have been. I can see him.
I remember that guy. And it's funny, at our booth here, I've got this big, like a 6-foot plastic Jesus thing I drew. And last night I was going to the bathroom, passing by the place. And I remember the day, Wayne, where I would have, if I'd have seen that, I'd have walked in there and pulled it down off the wall.
Yeah, it's been sacrilegious, huh?
Yeah. And now I'm drawing it and putting it up.
Well, you're lost, man.
Times are changing, aren't they?
They've written, I've been accused of, let's see, as a Luciferian, a Satanist, the Antichrist, the spirit of Antichrist. What was the other one? Gene Scott. Gene Scott, that's it.
And Ruth says he's still going at it.
Is he really?
Well, good for him.
Well, there you go.
He's got longevity at least.
Hey, as what Jimmy Swaggart, think about him.
Jimmy's still going at it, but I saw him the other day, and he's looking pretty frail.
Is he?
Yeah.
How old is he now?
He's well into his 70s.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so you got what Jimmy Swaggart looks like. Look what Mick Jagger put out on Tuesday.
Oh,
75 years old. I'm telling you, the man, I don't know 20 somethings that could dance and put the moves in what I saw Mick do.
I saw him like 2 years ago, and he was amazing.
Well, I was just saying after the open heart surgery.
Jimmy Swaggart, 84 years old.
84.
Wow.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, wonder what Jimmy would say of Jeff Doherty today.
I don't know. I doubt Jimmy would remember me.
You never know.
He wouldn't. It wouldn't be nice.
I'm sure it would. They've written us off, Jeff. I mean, I'm teaching magic now, and someone wrote me and said, how you've disintegrated into this evil, and the Satan's got you. And I just go back to one question: which genius of Homo sinned? Please tell me that. Then it would help maybe give me a place to work from.
Yeah, they gave me the left foot of fellowship a long time ago.
But they did. Right out the door. So bye now.
And that's okay.
It's like, well, Johnny Ringo.
Yeah. I hope you're right, Wayne, and I trust that you are. Doc is only a few minutes out of town. That makes me feel a lot better.
That's in fact,
Gene Scott passed away, but his wife, Melissa
Scott, is still preaching.
But is she smoking cigars? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. That's funny.
Gene Scott's wife. That's interesting.
I tell you, I don't know what it is. If they say that we create a lot of our own expectations on that moment of crossing over, and then I don't know what happens. I'm not there. But wow, I think some people have got some surprises coming. But seriously, you're going to have a good time. Go up there, and it's going to be cold. You do know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
It's cold here.
It's up in the mountains, huh? It was. She does not smoke cigars, we're hearing. It was last night we came back from dinner and it was cold.
Yeah, it's I had to put the fireplace on today, so it's
How about that?
It will be chilly up there.
Is it cold today?
Yeah, it's not. You go up there, I think you're going to be up around Lincoln, tell you, but 7,500 feet, 7,000 feet.
So that's up there.
Yeah, it'll be up in the probably upper 30s.
Wow, chilly.
Juan
says that the hybrids send.
The hybrid sin. Juan, that's an interesting point. How did we do that, though? Because if we're hybrids, that's a good. Now, listen, I happen to agree with you. We know these Homo sapiens sapiens, we are hybrids. But the question is, what did we sin from? And if you take that line of thought, then that means the Neanderthals, the Denisons, the Cro-Magnons, all the way down, wouldn't they be perfect spirits then?
Interesting.
And where did they go? Why would a perfect spirit want to come back and reincarnate? Could a Neanderthal come back as a sapien?
No, that's interesting.
I don't know.
That's very interesting.
I tell you, Jeff, people get the idea that somehow it's always been, the white race. But we know we started out the population with the black man, but we know that there was the race of the white man.
Dude, Pastor Melissa Scott, she wears a collar and everything, like a clerical collar.
Really?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting. Does Wayne know anything about the Denver airport? Stella, you're talking to a guy, and my wife will testify to this. There was about 4 years where I was at that airport every freaking week. Every week. And even before they started doing the construction, that's a weird place. That's all I got to tell you. The Demon Horse is, I don't know who came up with that idea, but that's the creepiest thing of the whole airport that gives you the bad vibes right from the get-go. We can't hear you.
Is it supposed to be just like a Denver Bronco?
Well, that's what they say. But that horse killed its sculpture. You know that, right when he finished it.
Say that again?
The sculptor was killed by that horse.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Whoa. Now, that's
And
not the same sculpture that used to be at the old Mile High Stadium, is it?
I don't think so. That is a demon horse. I mean, or you can call it what it is. Listen, at nighttime, that that airport has got some weird energy to it. That's all I got to tell you.
You know, Jay
And
Campbell came into it and said that he was physically ill, and he speculates that there's slave labor doing work underneath.
you know, I captured that EVP here in my backyard, and I tell you, what you know, go on my website. I'll put it up on my feature video, but there's something here. This area, I'm just telling you, there is something. I was drawn here. I don't know why. I was living in Austin, Texas.
Wow.
I wasn't thinking about coming to Denver, Colorado. Trust me.
Why do you think you were drawn here?
Destiny. There's something, I don't know. Yeah, who knows?
Now, weren't you planning on leaving though, possibly moving somewhere else?
We were looking at other places. Yeah, still are. I mean, but you know, been here 15 years, and that's a long time.
Yeah. It's weird to me, man. I don't know. I don't know if I could do it.
It's a different energy. It really is.
It is a different energy.
But the mountains, you know, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
It just, you fall in love with them. And as you know, as you go west today, you'll see it as you get up there. Maybe even be some snow up there. But yeah, there's something. When I was still in the indoctrination, Jeff, I said that, you know, God may not live in Colorado, but he visits here a lot.
I'll bet.
And I think there's a lot of gods that visit here.
I think you're right.
So
I think you're right. Well, Wayne, it's been fun. It's been a privilege and a pleasure as always.
always.
And we'll do it again next week.
We shall, and I will see you and your lovely lady here, in about 3 hours.
Looking forward to it, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
And all
Thank
of you
you,
in the
Jeff.
chat room, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.